Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video on this knife. This is the new for 2017 Benchmade Freek. Obviously this knife is certainly in the Griptilian family. The model number is 560, so that kind of tells you as well if the looks alone wouldn't do it. And I think, guys, you might be looking here at the next big thing from Benchmade. You know, I think this may be the knife that is, you know, elevated into the same spot as sort of the Griptilian and the 0940. This knife is very, very well done and certainly has the numbers to have a pretty broad appeal. Starting with the price, which is 110 bucks. No, that's not a budget knife at all, but for Benchmade's, that's a pretty reasonable price point to be at. Compete very closely with, of course, the Para 2, and I think they're kind of aiming at that with this knife. Size and weight on this is, again, right in that sweet spot where you want to be if you're going to make a popular knife. 8 7/16 inches overall, 9 3/16 on the blade, 4 7/8 handle, so just under 5 inches. And perhaps the most impressive number here is the weight, 3.7 ounces. Now we'll talk about how that weight is achieved in a second. That's one of the things that may not be as great about this knife, but that will, you know, time will have to tell about that one. Let's start though with the blade. The blade on this guy is, as I said, 3 9/16 inches of S30V steel with a very, very high flat grind drop point. I've got to say the bevel, by the way, is very nice and even, which is something Benchmade has seemed to struggle with, but they've done a great job with this edge. Also, I like the finish on this. Notice how there's a bit of contrast. It's a coarser grind on the flats than on the primary bevel there, which makes for a really, really nice looking blade. Okay, also not too much bearing. They've gone small. You know, the S30V and first production run is there, but it's sort of small and understated, which I've got to say I do appreciate. So blade on this, I think, you know, it's just right. This is one of those knives that's really landing in that Goldilocks zone of getting a lot of things right where it needs to be. Now, the one thing I do have some reservations about is this handle. It's a polymer handle and it's sort of a honeycomb construction. You can see there that it is. It does feel stronger and denser than a Griptilian, and it does have, of course, on the inside the steel inserts to accommodate the axis lock. The reason I have some reservation about it is not so much the strength. It actually feels very, very good. Not too much flex, fairly solid feeling knife, but it has this rubberized coating, which I will say is very comfortable in hand. In fact, if it works, if they've come up with a material that's tough enough, then yeah, this will be a huge win. The problem I could foresee is a lot of early wear because the rubber, you know, can chunk off or rip or get damaged. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they've come up with a material here that can stand up to a lot of really hard use. And if they have, then I think this is a real win. If on the other hand they haven't, then that could be one of the big detractors from this particular model. Of course, it is the axis lock and a really well done axis lock. Now, I don't know, yours may be a little bit different, but I've watched a few other people's videos and most people seem to be pretty impressed with the action on this. And this is one of the few Benchmades I've had that just flipped really, really nicely right out of box. Most of the Benchmades I've had, there's been a bit of a break-in period. Eventually, you know, after a few weeks or a month, they start to flip like this. They feel really nice, easy to actuate, really smooth, but they don't always start that way. So the fact that this one starts right out of box, feeling really good, is something I'm quite happy about. And you can see, if you take a look in there, at least I hope I'm not lying to you. Yeah, you can see it there. Those fairly large phosphor bronze washers, which is definitely something I like. And that's one thing, if you're watching this in your, you know, a manufacturing company, please don't give me these little tiny washers that are barely bigger than the pivot screw. It doesn't allow enough surface area for a stable knife. So now I've got to crank the thing down until it barely opens in order to get it to not have side-to-side play. Give me some nice big solid washers that give a lot of stability. That's what works really well. from a strength and reliability standpoint. Of course, it does have the split arrow clip, and this is the Parkerized clip, which is really nice. It's not going to wear easily. But guess what? Even if you don't like that clip, one benefit, and I have a stainless steel clip just like this, that I may switch it out. Anyway, you know, then it would match the blade. But for now, I'm going to leave it as it is. But the nice thing about Benchmade is, yeah, you can just send them an email and they'll give you a new clip for your knife free of charge, which I do like. So those are all sort of the features. That's what's going on with this knife. I've got to say it feels very good in hand. The balance is pretty nice. And at that price point, this could be a great, great knife. First impressions or overall impression on this knife, I think we could be looking at the next classic folder from Benchmade. There's very little negative that stands out to me here. Obviously, you know, this is a first impression. Some things could change about that, but as it stands, yeah, I'm gonna go out on a bit of a limb here and say, if you're a Benchmade fan, you're gonna wanna check this out. And even if you're not, this knife could make you one. Look forward to the full review coming up in a few weeks' time. That's all I've got for now. Any questions, go ahead and comment below. And as I'm able to figure things out, I can respond to those questions down below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and we will talk to you soon.